Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to be demonstrating for you the setup that we have adopted to teach remote, online, and face-to-face learners simultaneously. I will be showing you some of the hardware that you will be needing, most of which you probably already have or can acquire easily, as well as how to make the connections and change the settings on your computer to make this all work. This is not the only way to do this. There's a ton of ways to do it. You should definitely pick the one that works best for you. Feel free to modify anything here that doesn't work for you. Like I said, it's very customizable for every teacher, and maybe it'll help you. Let's have a look. So let's take a look at some of the hardware that we're going to be needing to make this setup work. First and foremost, we have our interactive display board. Lots of different brands, lots of different sizes out there with a lot of different features. This is just the one we happen to have available here. Your interactive display should come supplied with a HDMI cable as well as a USB-A Type A to USB Type B cable that is going to allow us to use the touch feature on this interactive display when using it with our device. Like I said, both of these cables are usually supplied with the purchase of this board. If not, these are very, very easy to acquire. All right. The device that you're using is going to determine the display adapter that you're going to be needing. We have MacBook Airs, so we went ahead and purchased the display adapter that converts mini display to HDMI so that we are able to make this connection. We have also chosen to go with a USB hub. Our MacBook Airs only come with 2 USB ports, which are going to be used up immediately. So this is going to increase the number of ports that we have available to use additional accessories, such as this wireless keyboard that we're going to be using. This is going to allow us as a teacher to detach from our computer so that we can move around the room if we need to and still be able to control our device and our board from this keyboard. The charger for my device, you will notice once you start running this setup, your battery is going to start draining a lot faster than usual. I recommend you keep your device plugged in during this time while you're using the setup, just to make sure your battery doesn't completely die on you. I also have a Bluetooth speaker. We're not going to use it as a Bluetooth speaker, though. We're going to make sure and use the dongle provided to make a nice connection with our computer. Obviously, we have our computer, and then also we have a webcam and camera arm that I showed in a previous video. I'll link it below in case you want to take a look at it. That's going to act as a document camera for us. The first connection that we're going to make is for the display. This is so that our computer is projected onto the interactive display. For this, we are going to use an HDMI cable. We are going to use any one of the available HDMI inputs, and I'm going to choose to go with HDMI 1. Our next connection involves the USB Type A to USB Type B cable, and this is going to be so that we have the touch feature on our interactive display. You are going to want to take the USB Type B end of your cable and plug it into the port that is labeled touch. You may notice that your device does not have anywhere to plug in an HDMI cable. So you're going to need to acquire the display adapter that is appropriate for your device. Our device here is a MacBook Air, which only has a mini display port. So we have gotten an adapter that goes from mini DisplayPort to HDMI. I'm going to take the HDMI cable that I previously plugged into my board, and I'm going to plug this end into my display adapter, and then I'm going to plug my mini DisplayPort into the side of my computer. Now the other cable that's coming out of my board is my USB cable. Before I plug this into my computer, I am going to use my USB hub to make this connection. I'm going to take the male end of my USB hub and plug it into the side of my computer at any available USB port. And now I have increased from 1 to 4 USB ports available here. I'm going to take the USB Type A end of my cable and I'm going to plug it into my USB hub. And this is what's going to allow the touch feature to work between my computer and my board.
Here is your brand new one screen. You will notice the HDMI cable is connected to my computer here. I'm going to click on that so I can see it full screen. I first click on the icon, then I click on the image in the middle. And now my computer is connected. If I need to go back to the menu, I click the arrow and the home button, which is at the top of this menu on the side. Now I'm back at the menu.
Now, one of the things that may happen here upon making these connections is that you're going to notice that your board is going to start displaying the same thing as your computer. If that happens, that means your computer has entered mirror display. And that is not what we want for today's purpose. For today's purpose, we want to take our screen from our MacBook and extend it onto our interactive display. To do that, we're going to go ahead and click on the Apple, go down to System Preferences. We're going to select Displays, and then on the Arrangement portion, we are going to unselect the Mirror Display option. So now you will notice that my computer and my interactive board look similar, but they are not displaying the exact same thing. This board is now an extension of my screen. So now let's take a look at how to hook up the rest of our accessories here to make this whole thing work. Let's start with our wireless keyboard. Your wireless keyboard will come supplied with its own dongle or nib, and this will also go connected to your USB hub. Okay, next thing is my speaker and microphone combo. Like I said, this is Bluetooth capable, but I'm not going to use the Bluetooth on this because I want to save the Bluetooth for my earbuds. So I'm going to take the dongle or the nib on the back of the speaker, and I will also connect this to my USB hub. Now you may be asking yourself, why am I connecting so much to the USB hub and not to my other available USB port? I'm saving this USB port for my camera. My camera may require a little bit more power than some of these dongles or nubs, and I want to make sure that I provided that power by plugging it directly into my computer via USB. So I will take the USB cable coming from my webcam, and I will plug it in to the other side of my computer here. And now my camera is connected to my computer. And then finally, I can take my charger and go ahead and plug in my computer. So another important part of the setup that we have chosen here is the layout of everything that you see here, aside from the connections. You'll notice that I have my media card here available. I have my computer here in front of me, pointed in a very specific direction, which we'll cover here in a little bit. I have the board behind me, and I have my keyboard available to me here as well as my camera. This is going to allow me to teach from the front of the classroom, either at my board. I can come back to my computer, I can take my wireless keyboard and I can back up, and I can let my kids have a full view of everything. Now, some of you might be wondering why I have chosen to point my computer towards me, and very simply, that's so that the camera is pointed at me so the kids at home can see me whenever I'm talking, and also so that as I'm teaching from this board, I can see the screen on my computer. And the reason that's going to be important is because since we are on extended screen, I'm going to keep my Google Meet or my Zoom or my Teams, whatever you're using to meet with your kids, I'm going to keep that on my computer screen. Anything that is part of my lesson for today, whether it is a YouTube video, whether it's slides, Nearpod, any website I'm using, whether it's my webcam software, all of that will go on my interactive display, which is going to be presented in my Google Meet. So if you can imagine, if you're part of my Google Meet and I'm presenting this screen to you via the Meet or the Zoom, you're going to see everything that I do here. And if you're a student in my class, you're going to see everything I do here simultaneously. So we're going to be addressing both groups of learners simultaneously. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to open a Google Chrome window, and I am going to go to Google Classroom. In Google Classroom, I'm going to select the class that I will be meeting with, and I will be launching the Google Meet. Once my Google Meet has been launched, I will go ahead and leave it here. I'm going to go ahead and open a new tab. I am going to click and drag this tab away from that window, and now I'm going to go ahead and drag this window off to the right of my screen so that it appears on my interactive display. Once my window has appeared on my extended display, I can continue to use the keyboard on my computer, or I can go ahead and pick up my wireless keyboard and take over from here. Also, you can use one of these supplied pens with your interactive display, and you can use this here. Here's a little tip to help make your life a little bit easier. I usually advise people not to use the full screen option on a Mac. Instead, what you can do is, if you come over here to your Chrome window and you use any part of your window here at the top that is not being used by a tab, you can go ahead and double click on there, and you'll notice that it will fill your screen without going into full screen mode. So now that I have my Google Meet on my computer and I have a Chrome window available here on my extended display, I can go ahead and start pulling up all my resources for today's lesson. I can get multiple tabs open. I got a Google slide going here. I'm going to queue up a YouTube video here. If I wanted to, I can also bring up a Nearpod here. And I can have all these tabs ready to go for my lesson for today, while still maintaining eyes on my Google Meet. I can have my chat open. I can see if kids are putting questions in the chat. I can see if kids are raising their hand. I can see if a student has turned off their camera or is having any problems. I can see if new students have joined, if students have left my Meet. I can do all of that and still have my lesson here uninterrupted. Now, I've gone ahead and launched IPvo Visualizer, which I covered in a previous video along with the webcam, which I will make sure and link at the bottom of this video, to use as a document camera for my students. Now, I want to show my students at home and my students in class the exact same thing at the exact same time for simultaneous teaching. So I have a IPvo Visualizer window that has opened up here on my screen. Again, because these two screens are connected, I'm going to go ahead and grab this window and just drag it all the way over to my extended screen. Once it's here, I can go ahead and take over with my pen. And I can go ahead and increase the size of this window to suit my needs. Now, you'll notice that my image is showing up upside down. And like stated in my previous video, you can very easily fix that here to get the image that you want. Okay? Now, in my Google Meet, I'm going to go ahead and start presenting. I'm going to go ahead and present now. I'm going to present my entire screen. Now, there are other methods of presentation, and you should choose the most appropriate one for your lesson today. For my lesson today, I'm going to be jumping back and forth between Google Chrome tabs and my IPvo Visualizer software. Now, in order for that to work, I'm going to need to display my entire screen in my Google Meet. So I'm going to select entire screen. You'll notice once you have all these connections set up, you have two different screens that you can choose from. I'm going to go ahead and select screen 2, which is going to be the one over here, and that is what I'm going to be presenting in my Google Meet. Now, what that means is anything I do on this board, my students at home will be able to see it. Whether it is anything on my Google Chrome tab, whether it's my slide, whether it's my Nearpod. On YouTube, we have to be careful because when you're presenting your entire screen, the sound from the video does not go through to your online learners. For that, you would have to go into tab. So let's just get rid of that for now. But any other one of my tabs here will be visible to my online learners and to my face-to-face learners because they're sitting here in front of this giant screen. Also, if I want to pull up my webcam, it's visible to my kids at home because I'm presenting this entire screen, and it's visible to my kids here in class. Anything I do here, obviously the kids in class will see it, as will the kids at home, because once again, I am presenting my entire screen. I'm doing all this, and I still have my Google Meet on this screen. If I leave my camera on in my Google Meet, my kids will be able to see me. I can see all the students in my Google Meet right now. I'm conducting my lesson. I'm able to get my wireless keyboard and step away from my computer, and I can still manipulate everything here with my keyboard. I can bring my cursor back over to my computer, and I can turn off my microphone, I can turn on my microphone, I can turn my camera on or off, I can admit students, I can mute students, I can reply to questions in the chat. All of this on one computer. You don't need two devices to be able to teach a lesson and still be in your Google Meet and be able to see it. That, in my opinion, just increases the number of tasks that you have to do. It's a little bit more complicated. You might get some feedback if you don't mute the microphone correctly. This here, very simple. It might be a little bit new to some of you, but once you try it and you play with it a little bit, everything just really makes sense. It's not that complicated. It's actually quite easy, and you're running everything off your one computer. My kids are in front of me. My online learners are in front of me. I'm in front of them. I'm in front of them. They're all looking at the same thing here on this display, as well as the kids online. It's a great setup. I highly recommend it.